So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
I don't care if that says Team Sheet Tantrum. Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 1. What a bonkers ending to that game. And what a brilliant, brilliant performance from Aston Villa. As Aston Villa, I'm genuinely, I'm borderline emotional after that win. I'm here in my my in-laws' house and watching that game and my daughter on my lap. And when that goal went in, she flew about 10 feet into the air and I caught her again. And oh my God, what a win for Aston Villa. In a game where Aston Villa started the better team, obviously got that goal and 8 minutes out from half time from Matty Cash. A really, really good goal, albeit as a completely and utterly lost him at the back post. Villa go in 1-1. And then Villa to weather a storm in that second half. Arsenal making changes, and then obviously look, Buendia coming up with that winner at the end. Oh my God, I am actually kind of slightly emotional. You can see my big red face. It's not often that I lose my cool in front of the in-laws, but I did a lot of jumping around there. At one stage, I went to take off the jumper and fire it at the ground down Unai Emery style. I took one look over at the father-in-law and one look at my daughter and went, "Yeah, can't be that kind of nuts inside here." But Jesus, if ever a situation dictated it, that was it. I'm genuinely speechless. The Aston Villa of the 5 games at the start of the season are dead, and they are no more. And the Aston Villa of the last 12 games, or the last however many games, what's that game day 15, is it now? Yeah, last 10 games in the Premier League are the Aston Villa that we know and that we love. We are something to behold. And Unai Emery against Arsenal in December is almost inevitable. Absolutely almost inevitable. I'm genuinely shaking with excitement here and with yeah, it's genuinely emotional after that. And I know it might sound silly, but look, that's the kind of guy I am. It's a last minute winner against the best team in Europe, arguably the best club team in the world currently at the moment. Yes, there were down players. The way that Villa had to dig in, Arsenal were all over them for a good 25-minute, 30-minute spell. Unai Emery's substitutions were absolutely brilliant. They were perfect. They were exactly when they needed to be made. Malin coming on for Watkins. And what I loved about Unai Emery is he showed no fear. He took off Pau Torres at one stage. He took off, and I don't know whether that was an injury or whatever, but he took off Torres. He took off John McGinn. He took off I can't even remember what's Amadou Onana, and he went with Lamar Bogart, and he went with Jadon Sancho, and he brought Sancho in to be that outlet on that left hand side. And Sancho was pivotal in the end with that goal, keeping that ball alive, getting it back across. Ball then I think falls to Kamara in the middle of the box, and then Buendia shows brilliant composure to just dig it out, stick it in the back of the net, and Aston Villa win 2-1 with the last kick of the game. I am absolutely over the moon. I think as victories go, as the last 2 weeks go, you can't deny the growth in this team. You can't deny the growth in individual players within this team. And what you can't deny is that, and I said this, I alluded to it on Talksport. I also said this in when I was on Claret and Blue. Unai Emery is in the conversation for the best manager in the world at the moment. And people, like other fans, will listen to that and laugh. Unai Emery is in conversation for that at the minute. What he is doing at Aston Villa, we have not seen before. It's not been seen before in this Premier League era, in this era of heightened, of less parity, in this era whereby you're almost only as good as the amount of money you can spend. And Unai Emery goes out and he does that, and he wins that the way he does. And Aston Villa win the way they do there, and Aston Villa are competing the way they are, 3 points off Arsenal, on in the middle of December. Again, I will say I don't care about being in a title race currently at the moment. I don't care about winning the league currently at this moment in time. It's facetious. It's a conversation that is just a bit of a waste of time. But what I do care about is we are the most competitive team. We are the most informed team in the world. I haven't checked this statistic. Someone please tell me if I'm right or wrong. And if you're watching this back afterwards, please pop it in afterwards. I would go so far as to say I think we might be the most informed team in Europe's top 5 leagues currently at the moment. I think we might be. And when you put it up there, I'm sure maybe Paris Saint Germain or maybe Bayern Munich might have a better form record. But when you put it up against what we have, what we're doing, and what they have, and what they're doing in the leagues they're doing it in, against the opposition they're doing it against, there is not an awful lot more that Unai Emery can do with this team. And what I mean by that, there's not an awful lot more. Like he can't devote more resources to the team. He can't. He's absolutely squeezing of every last ounce of potential out of this team, and none more so than the man who scored the winning goal. If there is any, and I said this on Talksport, and it was, if there's any barometer that you want to measure Unai Emery by, if there's any barometer that you want to measure the magic, the absolute fairy dust that this man is sprinkling over Aston Villa Football Club, just look at Emi Buendia. Just look at him. Look at what he was last year, 12 months ago. Look at what he is now. Look at there's other players you could put in there as well. Look at Matty Cash. Look at Matty Cash where he was 12 months and where he is now. Look at arguably you could say Amadou Onana, okay, unfulfilled potential. But look at where he was 12 months ago. In and out of the team, struggling with injury. Yes, he's still doing that at the moment, but he's a pivotal pillar within that team now. Unai Emery, Lamar Bogart. Look at Lamar Bogart. Lamar Bogart was trusted to come on there and to see out a game with. Oh, and it wasn't just like 10 minutes at the end. It was a decent chunk of time with Odegaard, with Saka. Eze was gone off. Martinelli was there. Gyökeres was in there. You know, these are good big time players. These are players that are you talk about them moving at any given time. When we go back to our the money men, the transfer market, none of them are going for any less than 50 million. Lamar Bogart came in there and doesn't look out of place. The heart is absolutely pumping out my chest at the moment with pride for this team and with pride for what Unai Emery has done. And I see names in the chat here, and there's been days when things have been bad and everybody has been still behind the team, and there's days when things are good, and it's days like today, specifically a day like today, where we go and we keep our fortress Villa Park absolutely is locked down central. Fort Knox. If you're looking to move the goal from anywhere, move it underneath the field in Villa Park, because once there's 11 men in Clarendon Blue out there, there's nobody coming away out of that place with any kind of value at all. Aston Villa and Villa Park is the place to be. It's an absolute fortress. We've wanted that for so long. We are no longer powder puff. We are not, excuse that phrase. We are no longer we're no longer people who will roll over at home. You come to our place, you're going to earn it. And that just shows, that game today showed it. Arsenal needed to earn that point towards the end, and they couldn't. They couldn't earn that point towards the end. 94th minute plus, Emi Buendia gets that ball in the middle of the box, shows the composure of an absolute saint to stick that in the top corner away from David Raya. He didn't just swing a foot at it. He placed that to where it was. And that man, Emi Buendia, is, as I say, he is the microcosm. He is the absolute, the poster boy for the rejuvenation of Aston Villa so far this season. The absolute poster boy and rejuvenation of Aston Villa this season. I can't see an awful lot of your comments there. I'm so sorry. I'm doing this on my phone, but I will do another podcast probably on this when I get back home. But I had to come on. The absolute genuine emotion that's coursing through the body at the moment. And I didn't even need to bring the kids to Santa Claus to ask him for this present. He gave it to me and he didn't even know. So remember, it's always important to send your letter to Santa, because if you haven't done it, there is still time. But I put up my letter to Santa Claus and I said I wanted to see Aston Villa performing really well, and hopefully some silverware as well, if he could throw that in there. So there still is a massive, massive chance with that. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy the rest of today. No matter what happens, I get to go. I get to see Aston Villa win there. I get to see the joy in everybody's face in the whole end and panning across the stands afterwards. I get to see my heroes, my Aston Villa hero players, all hugging each other, embracing each other, knowing what a last minute winner can do for their minds, also for their league table, also for those niggles start to get better a lot easier when you get last minute winners. They take you 3 points from the top of the league. Those lungs start to feel full of air when you're gasping at times in matches, when you're 3 points off the top of the league and you're getting last minute winners. And that means an awful lot. And I got to see that today and make me very happy. And I get to take my two little chiselers now to go and see Santa Claus. And as I say, I'm a sucker for Christmas. I'm a sucker for everything like that. And yeah, I'm going to go in and enjoy the rest of my day today now before I start crying and scream. Thanks a million, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy. I'm going to try and come back on later on, maybe later on tonight, maybe at 9:30, 10 o'clock or whatever, when the emotions, when I get home and when the emotions kind of calm down, to talk about a small bit more. So hopefully you'll join us for that. But in the meantime, soak it in, everyone. Really, really soak it in. Stay safe, stay healthy. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.